Welcome to Every Country Explained. Today, United Kingdom. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, commonly known as the United Kingdom, UK, or Britain, is a country in northwestern Europe, off the coast of the continental mainland. It comprises England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, with a population of over 69 million in 2024. The UK includes the island of Great Britain, the northeastern part of the island of Ireland, and most of the smaller islands within the British Isles, covering 94,354 square miles, 244,376 square kilometers. It shares a land settlement by Cro-Magnons of what was to become the United Kingdom occurred in waves beginning by about 30,000 years ago. The island has been continuously inhabited since the last retreat of ice around 11,500 years ago. By the end of the region's prehistoric period, the population is thought to have belonged largely to a culture termed Insular Celtic, comprising Brittonic Britain and Gaelic Ireland. The Roman conquest, beginning in AD 43, and the 400-year rule of southern Britain, was followed by an invasion by Germanic Anglo-Saxon settlers, reducing the Brittonic area mainly to what was to become Wales, Cornwall and, until the latter stages of the Anglo-Saxon settlement, the Hen Obled, northern England and parts of southern Scotland. Most of the regions settled by the Anglo-Saxons became unified as the Kingdom of England in the 10th century. Gaelic speakers in northwest Britain, with connections to the northeast of Ireland and traditionally supposed to have migrated from there in the 5th century, united with the Picts to create the Kingdom of Scotland in the 9th century. The Roman baths in Bath, Somerset, are a well-preserved thermae from Roman Britain. In 1066 the Normans invaded England from northern France. After conquering England they seized large parts of Wales, conquered much of Ireland and were invited to settle in Scotland, bringing to each country feudalism on the northern French model and Norman French culture. The Anglo-Norman ruling class greatly influenced, but eventually assimilated with, the local cultures. Subsequent medieval English kings completed the conquest of Wales and tried unsuccessfully to annex Scotland. Asserting its independence in the 1320 Declaration of Arbroath, Scotland maintained its independence thereafter, albeit in near constant conflict with England. In 1215 Magna Carta was the first document to state that no government was above the law and that citizens have rights protecting them. The English monarchs, through British influence, can be observed in the language, culture and legal systems of many of its former colonies, in particular the United States, Australia, Canada, New Zealand and Ireland, a common culture known as the Anglosphere. Most of its former colonies are Commonwealth countries, bonded by a shared British inheritance. A global survey in 2024 ranked the UK third in the most influential countries rankings, behind the US and China. British literature includes that associated with the United Kingdom, the Isle of Man and the Channel Islands. Most British literature is in English. In 2022, 669 million physical books were sold in the UK, the most ever. Britain is renowned for children's literature. Writers include Daniel Defoe, Rudyard Kipling, Lewis Carroll and Beatrix Potter, who also illustrated her own books. Other writers include A. Milne, Enid Blyton, J. Tolkien, Roald Dahl, Terry Pratchett and J. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, the best-selling book series of all time. The playwright and poet William Shakespeare is generally regarded as the greatest dramatist ever and the national poet of England. Theatre of United Kingdom plays an important part in British culture and has had a vibrant tradition of theatre since the Renaissance with roots going back to the Roman occupation. Other important figures in the literature of England are Geoffrey Chaucer, known for the Canterbury Tales, the poet William Wordsworth, and other Romantic poets, also the novelists Charles Dickens, H. Wells, George Orwell, Aldous Huxley, and Ian Fleming. The 20th century English crime writer Agatha Christie is the best-selling novel. It occupies the major part of the British Isles and includes the island of Great Britain, the northeastern 1/6 of the island of Ireland and some smaller surrounding islands, meaning it comprises England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Geographically, the United Kingdom lies between the North Atlantic Ocean and the North Sea, with the southeast coast coming within 22 miles 35 kilometers of the coast of northern France, from which it is separated by the English Channel. The nearby island polities of the Isle of Man, Jersey and Guernsey are crown dependencies, in union with the British monarch, but do not strictly form part of the United Kingdom or any of its 3 jurisdictions or 4 countries, although the British government retains responsibility for their external affairs. The Isle of Man lies roughly midway between Great Britain and the island of Ireland in the Irish Sea, while the Channel Islands lie just off the northern French coast. The Royal Greenwich Observatory in London was chosen as the defining point of the prime meridian at the International Meridian Conference in 1884. The UK lies between latitudes 49 degrees and 61 degrees north, and longitudes 9 degrees west and 2 degrees east. Northern Ireland shares a 310-mile (499 kilometers) land boundary with the Republic of Ireland and has a 404-mile (650 kilometers) coastline. The length of coastline of Great Britain plus its principal islands is about 19,491 miles (31,368 kilometers) long, with the coastline of the main island Great Britain being 11,073 miles (17,820 kilometers) of that, though measurements can vary greatly due to the coastline paradox. It is connected to continental Europe by the Channel Tunnel, which at 31 miles 50 kilometers, 24 miles 38 kilometers underwater, is the longest underwater tunnel in the world. The UK contains 4 terrestrial ecoregions: Celtic broadleaf forests, English lowlands beech forests, North Atlantic moist mixed forests, and Caledonian conifer forests. The area of woodland in the UK was estimated to be 3.25 million hectares in 2023, which represents 13% of its land area. The food of England has historically been characterized by simplicity of approach and a reliance on the high quality of natural produce. The traditional Sunday roast is one example, featuring a roast joint, usually of beef, lamb, chicken, or pork, often free-range, and generally grass-fed, in the case of beef. Roasts are served with either roasted or boiled vegetables, Yorkshire pudding, and gravy. Other traditional meals include meat pies and stews. A poll by YouGov in 2019 rated classic British food, with more than 80% liking the Sunday roast, Yorkshire pudding, fish and chips, crumpets and the full English breakfast. The UK is home to a large selection of fine dining. The nation hosts multiple restaurant guides such as the Good Food Guide in Hardens. In 2025 there were 197 restaurants with a Michelin star, 10 of which have received a 3-star rating. Sweet foods are common within British cuisine, and there is a long list of British desserts. Afternoon tea is a light afternoon meal served with tea in tea rooms in hotels around the United Kingdom, with the tradition dating back to around 1840. A poll from July 2024 revealed that 3% of the UK population follow a vegan diet, 6% are vegetarian, and 13% identify as flexitarian, following a mainly vegetarian diet. The British Empire facilitated knowledge of Indian cuisine with its strong, penetrating spices and herbs. British cuisine has absorbed the cultural influence of those who have settled in Britain, producing hybrid dishes, such as chicken tikka masala. The British have embraced world cuisine and regularly eat recipes. London is Europe's largest financial centre. The United Kingdom has a highly developed social market economy. With an estimated nominal GDP of £819 trillion in 2025, it is the 5th largest national economy in the world and the 2nd largest in Europe. Its currency, the pound sterling, is the 4th most traded currency in the foreign exchange market and the world's 4th largest reserve currency, after the United States dollar, the euro, and the yen. The pound sterling maintains its high nominal value through both its long history of stability and by never undergoing formal redenomination. Since 2022, the UK has been both the world's 4th largest exporter and 4th largest importer of goods and services. Despite having one of the highest levels of income inequality in the OECD, the UK has a very high HDI ranking, including when adjusted for inequality. As of 2025, the UK unemployment rate is 4.7% and the annual real GDP per head growth was 1. Treasury, led by the Chancellor of the Exchequer, is responsible for developing and executing the government's public finance and economic policy. The Department for Business and Trade is responsible for business, international trade, and enterprise. The Bank of England is the UK's central bank and responsible for issuing notes and coins in the pound sterling. Banks in Scotland and Northern Ireland retain the right to issue their own notes, subject to retaining enough Bank of England notes in reserve to cover their issue. Industries and services. The Bank of England is the central bank of the United Kingdom and the model on which most modern central banks have been based. Concorde was a supersonic airliner that reduced transatlantic flight time from 8 hours to 3.5 hours. The service sector made up around 80% of the UK's GVA in 2023. As of 2023, it is the world's second largest exporter of services and in 2024 was the world's largest net exporter of financial services. London is the world capital for foreign exchange trading, with a market share of 37.8% in 2022 of the global turnover. It is the largest urban economy in Europe and, alongside New York, the city in the world most integrated with the global economy. London is also the capital and largest city of England, and the UK is London. Edinburgh, Cardiff and Belfast are the national capitals of Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, respectively. Most of Ireland seceded from the UK in 1922 as the Irish Free State, and the Royal and Parliamentary Titles Act 1927 created the present United Kingdom. The UK became the first industrialist country and was the world's foremost power for the majority of the 19th and early 20th centuries, particularly during the Pax Britannica between 1815 and 1914. The British Empire was the leading economic power for most of the 19th century, a position supported by its agricultural prosperity, its role as a dominant trading nation, a massive industrial capacity, significant technological achievements, and the rise of 19th-century London as the world's principal financial center. At its height in the 1920s, the empire encompassed around a quarter of the world's landmass and population, and was the largest in history. However, its involvement in the First World War and in the Second World War damaged Britain's economic power, and industries and services. The Bank of England is the central bank of the United Kingdom and the model on which most modern central banks have been based. Concorde was a supersonic airliner that reduced transatlantic flight time from 8 hours to 3.5 hours. The service sector made up around 80% of the UK's GVA in 2023. As of 2023, it is the world's second largest exporter of services and in 2024 was the world's largest net exporter of financial services. London is the world capital for foreign exchange trading, with a market share of 37.8% in 2022 of the global turnover. It is the largest urban economy in Europe and, alongside New York, the city in the world most integrated with the global economy. London is also one of the world's leading financial centers, ranking second in the 2025 Global Financial Centers Index. Thanks for watching United Kingdom Explained. Subscribe to TrendLens for more country videos. Which country should we cover next? Let us know in the comments.